The students, friends and family members, and of course the parents. Bulavanaka, and a very good afternoon to you all. We've just come over from the agricultural show that's been held in Syria Park in Missouri. And in fact, it was very heartening to see so many participants at that agricultural show, which essentially demonstrates the interest and in fact the renewed interest in agriculture. In particular, in the aftermath of COVID-19, we obviously are still experiencing the effects of COVID-19. There has been a new focus in us individually, as nations, as communities, and indeed as the world, that we need to be able to become self-sufficient in many respects. Borders, of course, closed down. Our ability to access goods, our ability to access services, supply chains become very, very limited. And therefore, we need to be able to become a lot more self-sufficient. As was said by the Talta in the beginning, we always need to have an open mind. From, of course, a biblical or scriptural perspective, when you have an open mind, that's when God can get closer to you. That's a general theory about it. In the same way, with our individual lives too, whatever career we may pursue, whether it's farming, whether it's some other type of job, we need to always have an open mind. And that's precisely what the Minister for Agriculture and his team are doing. If you see the type of technology that's being introduced, if you see the new focus on new types of crops, vegetables and other produce, even in forestry, that we can actually harvest, you'll realize the full potential of what we can do, not just as individuals, but as a community, as a society, as a country. And I think that's critically important for us to understand. A couple of years ago, we had made an announcement that students graduating from the Fijian National University Agricultural College, upon completion of their degrees, they would also be given a title to lease land, and we are able to give those title leases to a number of graduates through TLTB. Today we are seeing a very similar situation, and government is very happy to participate in this particular process. As has been highlighted, that farmers obviously need land. In the same way, a fisherman or fisherwoman needs access to the ocean, a good clean ocean. That's why our Honourable Prime Minister is talking about climate change. We're talking about keeping our oceans clean, getting rid of acidification from the oceans. In the same way, we are very much focused on ensuring that we maintain the pristine environment that we live in on land, or terrestrial spaces. So, for a farmer to have access to land is important, this is a critical asset, but to be able to have what we call secure title. And I'd like to speak directly to those young men and women who are receiving the leases today, that those leases are being issued under your name. So even though you may come from the same landowning unit, but the lease is under your name. It is very empowering. And the reason why it is very empowering, it means that you can actually go and use that lease, go to a financial institution, and be able to get a loan. And the banks will use that lease as what you call collateral, as security. So they know in the event, for example, this is in the same way if you go and buy a house and you borrow money from the bank will take a mortgage over the house, and you keep on doing the repayments. If, God forbid, you don't do the repayments or you fall behind in your mortgage repayments, they then mortgage your house. And the reason why they're able to lend you the money is because they know that in the event you don't pay, they've got a security. So in the same way, as a farmer, if you have access to the leased land and you're able to have access to the title, the banks, like institutions like Fiji Development Bank, will feel a lot more secure lending you money. You of course have to be responsible about it. You also have to make sure that you borrow the money for the right purpose and apply the money for the right purpose. And that's critically important. So you have to be able to manage your farm as a business. And that's where the Minister for Agriculture and his team can also provide you the ongoing support. And that's very important, and I'm sure the Institute may be able to provide you some support in that respect too. Because I can tell you there's lots of money to be made in agriculture. People have to eat. People need access to food. People, of course, some of us may think that people drink too much of it. People need yangona too. Our largest exports to America is yangona. I remember a few years ago when I went with the Honourable Prime Minister to Vanuatu, there was one farmer in one single harvest, he made $1.6 million. Because as you know, after Cyclone Winston, the price of yangona shot through the roof. It was about $80 a kilo prior to Winston. It shot up to $220 a kilo. I'm talking about the retail price. So obviously the farmers were able to demand a higher price because a lot of the yangona plantation got damaged. And it takes a longer period to get the yangona harvestation to take place. So there are many opportunities. And as you know, that the Ministry of Agriculture is also working on what we call value adding. We were today at a stall where there was I think it's Wanimbuka, where this particular cooperative has got together in this village, and they're making chips out of cassava, vundi, and kumala. And they're now supplying to the Total service stations throughout Fiji. So there are many opportunities within the farming agriculture sector. So please make good use of it. We of course have a problem in Fiji as far as farming is concerned. We have what we call an aging farming or farmer population. Not many young people over the past number of years have actually tried to engage in the farming sector. And it was absolutely correct when someone said earlier on that farming was seen as the last option. I remember when I was in primary school, the teachers, if somebody did not study hard, they said, what, do you want to become a farmer? So it was looked down upon. But you must see, and what we are trying to create is to instill in the minds of the young people in Fiji that if you are good at farming, if you are passionate about farming, you must not say or you must not think that it's a profession that it's looked down upon. It's a very high, what I call a highly regarded profession. And you can actually become quite prosperous through it too. So please remember that. These are the fundamentals, and we as a government believe that agriculture should be given the right support. The right quality support is one of the few ministries in the post-COVID-19 budget that has not had a reduction in its allocation. In fact, it's had an increase compared to the previous budgetary allocation. So, ladies and gentlemen, also I'd like to, the parents who are here, please support your sons and daughters to operate their farms as a business. Please don't think if they've planted, 50 rows of dalo that just because, you need it tomorrow morning, you go and uproot it. Don't do that. If you want to do that, ask the farmer first. Pay him the price for it. You have to treat it as a singular business. It's critically important. Many people have actually lost their businesses because of that, people not being able to run it as a business. So I wish to congratulate, of course, first of all, Navuso at the Agricultural Institute. I mean, it was very visionary of people back in 1923 to set up such an institute. Very visionary. And of course, it has withstood the test of time. And this is why government is continuously supported through direct budgetary allocation on a yearly basis to this particular institute, because we see a lot of value in it. And I think with the right type of curriculum, with the right type of focus, the right type of emphasis on technology and new farming methodologies, and of course, for example, things like assessing the health of your soil, etc., you'll be able to work in a lot closer collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, because the Ministry of Agriculture, like all the other government agencies, requires a lot of partners not just within government, but outside government. And that's the only way we can actually inculcate a culture of ensuring that we have a huge focus on agriculture. So congratulations once again. Congratulations to the head of the school, to the Methodist Church, of course. And of course, I'd like to acknowledge the assistance and the focus by the minister and his team. I'd like to wish all the graduates all the best for the future. Thank you.